let's take a deeper dive with this with Klaus Larres. He's a professor of history and international affairs at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Welcome back to the program, Professor.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So, this much-anticipated report has forced Prime Minister Boris Johnson to apologize only now. Do you think that's enough to calm the public anger?
No, not at all. I think Boris Johnson is on the defensive pretty clearly. 2/3 of the British population are annoyed with the Prime Minister and are calling for his resignation. And it is not surprising. After all, Britain was in lockdown for almost 20 months and was not supposed to socialize with each other. Only 2 people were allowed to meet at any one time. And there were parties going on in Downing Street. People, filled suitcases full of alcohol, brought it into Downing Street and had a great time. And some parties, or one party, even took place in Boris Johnson's own apartment. He participated in several of these parties, including in the garden in Downing Street and in various rooms in Downing Street. And the normal population was unable to attend funerals. The Queen, as we know, sat alone in church at the funeral of her husband, Prince Philip, because she wanted to keep socially distant relations to other people. And at the same time, the night before the Prince Philip was buried, there was a wild party taking place in Downing Street. When that all came out, of course, the British public was very annoyed and continues to be very annoyed. And Boris Johnson has apologized. He has said sorry quite a few times now, but no one really believes him. It doesn't come across very sincerely, and I think the calls for his resignation will continue.
But Professor, it has been weeks now since revelations of the parties, or if you ask Boris Johnson's government, calls them work events, weeks since it's first surfaced. Does it hurt or help the Prime Minister the longer this drags on?
No, it clearly hurts him. He is hurt. He is damaged by the revelations. Today, for example, he wanted to talk to Vladimir Putin at 4 p.m. London time, and at 3:30 he also had to answer questions in the House of Commons because of his behavior and the parties. So he had to cancel the call with Putin. And the opposition rightly says that the Prime Minister is totally distracted by what is going on in Downing Street and by the inquiry about that. And even the police, as you said in your report, is now investigating the Prime Minister himself. All that is highly damaging. He cannot do his job properly. He is distracted. So many people call for his resignation. And whether or not he will be able to survive, we will see. It's difficult to oust a British Prime Minister. He can, of course, resign, but Boris Johnson is not the man who resigns. He has clearly said he's not going to resign. So the only other chance is if there is a leadership challenge within the Conservative Party. But 54 members of his own party need to write a letter of no confidence to the chairman of the so-called 1922 committee. Only then a leadership challenge can be begun. And we don't know whether these 54 letters will be written. 20 or so have already been written, I hear, but there's quite a way to go until 54. So it is an open question. But eventually, of course, the full report will have to be published once the police investigation is over. And that may take several weeks, maybe even a couple of months. But eventually, the full report will be there. And then again, we will find probably very damaging information out about Boris Johnson. So this will drag on for ages unless he resigns pretty quickly, or there is a leadership challenge coming soon in the next few weeks or so.
Professor Klaus Larres, always good to speak with you. Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.